What is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today we have a great show. We're going to talk about all of the current events and everything that's going on, plus, of course, the updates on pretty much everything else that has happened in the last week. So stick around. It's going to be a really good one. And again, rainwater across the planet is going bad. In fact, it's not safe. We'll talk about that and much, much more right when we get back. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Hello and a welcome to every new person here. I also want to say a very special thank you before the show started. A very generous super chat from Miranda McGuire. Thank you so much for your support of the show, and I appreciate that. If you're new here, this is a live show. This is also going to be a call-in version. We have it every other day, which you can call in at 2244-00-MARF. Now, that is, again, 2244-00-6273. That number is going to be scrolling on the black line down below. If you're new, you can also go over to our website, marfooglenews.com, and any story that I show you, whether it be a picture, an article, a video, a tweet, a document, it's going to be archived on our website. That way you have a full bibliography of all of our sources and you know exactly where we got it. Now, when you go over there, it's very easy to navigate. On top of you being able to sign up for our notifications here and our email alerts, you can also go over and find these sources by thumbnail. So you'll look for rain. This is not good. It's happened everywhere. Once you click on that, it will bring you to every single article, tweet, video, picture, document. All right, with that out of the way, let's bring in my co-host/internet brother, and we'll get started on, of course, all of the news. Dex James, how are you, and what's going on?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I am doing just fine.
Thanks, everybody that popped back in yesterday. A lot of people thought that was our first show. Friday, actually, we did do a show. So if you missed that show, make sure to go back and check it out. This is a longer time frame show where we go over in 2 hours, many of the things that are going on. I, of course, was doing a side gig for about a week. So I am back from that, and the show has resumed. So just always tune in around 7 to 8 p.m. All right, and then let's get into the first one. Scientists are investigating a giant energy jets that are shooting up to space. It says a recent gigantic jet of lightning shot up 50 miles into space, a phenomenon that scientists are just beginning to understand. It says that abstract breaks down mind-bending scientific research. It says lightning strikes can be exhilarating and a terrifying sight to behold from the ground. But what's wilder is that these intense bolts of plasma sometimes powerfully erupt in the opposite direction. It says zigzagging up into space in dazzling display known as gigantic jets. It says now scientists led by Levi Boggs, a research scientist at the Georgia Tech Research Institute, have described the strongest gigantic jet ever seen, which sprang up from cloud tops in Oklahoma and darted 50 miles above Earth's surface. It says where it delivered the largest charge transfer to space on record. Now, I have a picture of this, and once you see it, you'll understand exactly what we are saying. So this is some of the images collected where they say from this event. Obviously, it looks like something out of a sci-fi flick. It looks like a tornado that's taking off from Earth into space. This is above the clouds. This is, again, 50 miles up in the sky. So this is above our heads, so supposedly. Now, the pictures are a trip and a half. So once you see the final ones here, and let me make sure, I should shrink this down here. Hold on. So you can see that last one. Dang it, it's not letting me, Hold on. Shoot. What in the heck is going on? All right, I think I can do it by going like this. Okay, the fourth one is over on the very right. If you see that, it's actually the third one that looks the coolest, but as you can see at the very edge of your screen on the right, that is what they look like. And I'll get rid of my logo here so you can see it clearly. Check that out. Is that not nuts or what? It looks like, it almost looks like, it reminds me of those electricity balls that you put your hand on and all the electricity goes towards your hand. This is almost like some Men in Black type of, our world is just one of those on somebody's desk and somebody was putting their hand on our planet. Pretty nuts, to say the least. What do you think of it? Do you think it is something amazing? Do you think it is blah, blah? Do you think it's fake? Let me know in the comments down below. And then, of course, U.S. gas prices fall below $4 per gallon. First time since March. So everybody is cheering on. I see a lot of very sarcastic remarks basically saying, oh yeah, that gas that I just paid $2 last year for, I'm super happy it went from $4.40 to $4.20. But, of course, it's still at $4 a gallon on average, which is still very high. That's about the most that I'm going to talk about the gas prices. I think that it's going to go up over time. It always has. But it gets to a point. In fact, I think Alaska Prepper, who was the one who said, there's been these landmark days in history where, it never went below a certain amount. It got to the point where across the country, it never went below $1. It never went below $2. It never went below $3. Now we're at this point where it may not go under a certain amount if it be $3. Now, the price of gas changes around the country in some of the smaller towns and things. You will see much cheaper gas. That's why somebody who's in a small town that's paying, even when it was $10 a gas in Mendocino, they're saying, oh, the highest it got here was $4. That's because places are relative to where they are. There's some places that they charge much, much less. There's also places where houses still cost $200,000, yet a regular house here is costing $1 million to $2 million. In fact, I did forget last week I was going to put the graph that showed how much you are supposed to earn to be able to buy a house in the United States. And my state in Washington, Seattle in specific, was number 5 on that list. Under, I believe, want to say New York, Boston, San Jose, and San Francisco. You had to make at least $140,000 a year to even be able to be in the basic zone of buying a home. Now, most people here, if they're not, some sort of elite or really did a good job saving, they have to be in that category. And the only people that make that are, the developers or the software engineers or people that have owned a trucking company and do their own long haul for years, or somebody who is, I don't know, even if you have a really good union job, it's hard to make that. But I know there's some positions that could, plumbers or some sort of job that would be able to make that. But the sad truth is it's getting to the point where you really have to get lucky, or you have to really get into a good position to even be able to buy a home. And that is really sad. Or you have to move, and you have to move far away from home and far away from family. So it's pretty sad. What do you think about it? Let me know. What was the highest your gas prices got locally? Let me know in the chat below. Thank you, B. Borrowed, Beer Juice, Marcia Fusca, Mike Heavyheart, and again, thank you, Miranda McGuire. I appreciate your super chat in the very beginning of the show. Leanne is me. Thank you for the super thanks on the last show, Unlikely Events. Says, thanks, almost 4 years strong, my favorite channel. I appreciate that. Thank you, and thank you. And Leanne is me. That was really, really incredible. And then Anna Goldsby says, thanks on the last show. Carolee Stouffer says thanks. And thank you guys. Free food. Thank you for commenting. Again, appreciate your guys' super thanks on that last show. That's basically a super chat that's on replays. All right. And then moving on, we're going to talk about the inflation in New York. A lot of folks, Foogle fam from New York, have been telling us about this for months. Now there's actually media covering it. It says this is supposed to be a summer-long awaited celebrations in New York. They say $15 French fries and $18 sandwiches. It says the return of a packed calendar full of birthday dinners and happy hours. But New Yorkers are confronting sticker shock everywhere they look, whether they're shopping for barbecue supplies at the grocery store, ordering a beer after work, or grabbing a late-night slice of pizza. Well, rent and the cost of Uber trips have reached eye-popping levels. Rising food prices are amongst the most painful results of inflation. It says in May, food prices in the New York City area rose in their fastest annual pace since 1981. It says, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the effects have been especially visible throughout the city. Everybody has to eat. It says the increase showed in June. The most recent inflation report showed that food prices were still at 9.1% higher than a year earlier in New York and 10.4% higher nationwide. Now, I heard somebody commented saying like that's not much of a inflation, that 8%. It's definitely not compared to, say, Venezuela, but we're talking about every single thing that you're buying is 9 to 10% higher. That adds up. In fact, every 10 items that you buy, it's going to be like you're buying an entire other item. And the price definitely matters in this. I mean, we're talking about items that are in themselves 40% higher, 60% higher, 80% higher. So that's kind of like the average of what it is. But a lot of things have gone up threefold, fourfold. We're talking about items in the aisle that used to be $2.50 are now $10. This is hurting all of us. This is why most people are picking up extra shifts or second jobs or side gigs. In my case, it says rising prices have come for beloved New York staples like ice cream cones at Mr. Softy Trucks and the bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches at bodegas. And they have worsened the city's hunger crisis. The number of children visiting food pantries was up 55% higher earlier this year than it was before the CV hit. It says, according to City Harvest, the largest food rescue organization in New York City, many restaurants and bars that survived the demic, of course, resisted raising prices last year, afraid of scaring away customers during a fragile recovery. Now, as businesses have increased wages to attract workers in competitive labor markets, while facing soaring food and energy costs, higher prices are popping up on menus across the city. So they have tried to draw in people to work because nobody was working for the longest time. People didn't even want to leave their house after this whole, down lock thing. And then once they did, they paid that extra money. Now they have to pay for extra food cost, everything else. And now you're seeing, dinners at $50, $70, $80 for a place that's not, this is, not a fancy place with a view. We're talking about a normal mid-range restaurant that's charging these kind of prices. Even, fancier restaurants, it used to be $100 and now $400, $500, $600 meals. I mean, it is absolutely insane how much restaurants in specific have gone up. Now, we're going to get our calls on in just a minute. So remember, today is a call-in show. It is going to be at 2244-00-MARF. And that's, again, 2244-006273. That number is right down there. If you have a story about either inflation or a sighting or anything else, give us a call at 2244-006273. Once you get to our phone tree, make sure to press option 4, and you'll get right to Dex. Make sure to get in early. This is right about the right time to get in here. We have about 3,600 live, so the phones are going to be off the hook Sometimes people call with 1 phone, 2 phones, 3 phones, but just get in there early. Rainwater everywhere on Earth unsafe to drink due to forever chemicals, study finds. Now, once you hear this, I'm sure a lot of people are going to think whole lots of things, and I don't blame you for thinking those things. In fact, whatever theories you have there, I bet I wouldn't be surprised by any of them. But essentially what they're saying is across the planet that the rainwater is now unsafe to drink, or at least that's what they're telling us. It says rainwater almost everywhere on Earth has unsafe levels of, quote, forever chemicals, according to new research. It says per and polyfluoroalkyl, and I apologize if I said that wrong there, scientists, substances, or PFAS, are a large family of human-made chemicals that don't occur in nature. They are known as forever chemicals because they don't want to break down the environment. Again, I have seen many comments, especially people saying, maybe this is because they don't want people collecting rainwater, or they want people to be afraid of it and not to have extra water around. But there are a few Foogle family members who have already sent me messages and said that they have confirmed this, or that they are in a field, or they work for the EPA and they've been seeing this and they're very disturbed by it and actually scared for it. They're not more like saying that you couldn't. Again, but this is really, really freaky because rainwater historically has always been something you could collect and drink. But now they say there are chemicals. It says they have non-stick and stain repellent properties so that can be found in household items like food packaging, electronics, cosmetics, and cookware. But now researchers at the University of Stockholm have found them in rainwater in most locations on the planet, including Antarctica. So the first thing I questioned, I was thinking in my head, like, what about the rainforest? They say they have found it even in places there. So you're talking about rain coming out of the sky, essentially being filled with chemicals. It says rainwater everywhere is unsafe to drink. Safe guideline levels for some of these forever chemicals have dropped dramatically over the last 2 decades due to new insights into their toxicity. There has been an astounding decline in guideline values for PFAS in drinking water in the last 20 years, says Jan Cousins, lead author of the study and professor of Department of Environmental Science. It says for one well-known substance, the cancer-causing perfluorotenanoic acid PFOA, water guideline values have declined by 37.5 million times in the U.S. Based on the latest U.S. guidelines for PFOA in drinking water, rainwater everywhere would be judged unsafe to drink. Now, mind you, we still don't know. We still don't know if you can even filter these kind of chemicals out. But that's, again, why we've been even telling people, not many people even trust their water anyways. So a lot of people have been getting stuff like the Alexa Pure Pro, the water filtration systems and things like that. Of course, you've got your Berkeys and things like that. But that's why a lot of people are starting to filter even just any water they get. I know people that filter their bottled water because they don't trust their bottled water. That may sound extreme, but this is what people are doing now. It says, although in the industrial world we don't often drink rainwater, many people around the world expect it to be safe to drink and supplies many of our drinking water sources. So, any kind of natural place where they collect the rainwater and it comes out through some sort of display. The thing is there are also places in the United States that actually ban you from collecting rainwater. I always thought that was really weird. When I first heard that, I thought, why? But I think the reason, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, is it because they don't want bodies of water that could house mosquitoes? Is that what it is? Or why do they not want you to collect rainwater in the first place? Either way, if there's chemicals in it, or if they tell you there's chemicals in it, many people aren't going to collect it or aren't going to want to drink it. So very, very odd. It says, what risk do forever chemicals pose to our health? The health risks of being exposed to these substances have been researched widely. Scientists say that they could be linked to fertility problems. Okay, so this is what they're saying. Is this going to be the explanation for why we are all going infertile and why our sperm counts are going down drastically across the planet? It definitely sounds reasonable and it sounds logical, right? So all of us go, yeah, that's why. I don't know. It just it's something about this really bugs me, and I don't know what to say. It says, but others say there is no cause and effect that can be proven between these chemicals and poor health. Personally, I think that what you put inside your body is how what your body puts out. And anyone who has gone from eating crap to good food has absolutely seen the difference in how you feel. If you fill your body with crap, maybe when you're really young, up until about 25, I could eat crap and it didn't bother me, and just woke up every single day and had energy and everything else. But once you get older, you realize that food really, really makes a difference. And water, drinking a ton of water, if you have not gotten on the train, and even if you're 50 and you think, I've gone my whole life and I don't drink that much water. Trust me, if you make it a habit and really try and drink water 10, 20, 30 times a day, as much as you can with, in a safe level, I tell you what, it will make you feel like an entirely different person. Our bodies are 70% plus water, so it really does make a difference. But with all the stuff that's in our water, nobody really trusts it anymore. Do you drink your tap water at home? I do have a question. I'm going to ask. I'm just going to do a general poll in the chat, and I'm going to pull up the chat. I want to see how many people actually drink the tap water. No matter where you live, you've got tap water, right? Or at least I hope so. If you're watching YouTube and you don't have tap water, that would be pretty bad. Press 1 for if you drink your tap water. Press 2 if you don't. Press 3 if you filter your tap water. Or press 4 if you drink bottled water only. Look at that. 2. So 2 is you don't drink tap water. Wow, this is a good thing. Most, by the way, and there's whoever's saying 1, I did this once before, and people were like, oh, you shouldn't drink your tap water. It depends on where you live. Some places are on natural springs. I know my grandmother, or grandmother-in-law, she actually has the most amazing water ever. It tastes better than bottled water, and it comes from a natural spring, and it comes right out of her tap. Shanwin Wiggins, thank you from Australia, it looks like. Thank you from down under. I appreciate your support, and thank you for the super chat there. Finley, Scotland, looks like just subscribed. We got people from all over the world here. Thank you so much. Look at that. So many people. And then 3, there's a lot of 2s and 3s. So 3s are people who they drink their tap water filtered, right? That's insane. Global Witness is in the house. Hey, please support Marf. I love you guys, Dex and Brother. Well, you don't have to support me, but I would say go over and watch Global Witness, which, again, Global Witness actually moved to, I won't say where I don't know if yeah. Either way, it looks like he moved, but he is closer to me, so we may actually be able to meet up in person, so that's pretty cool. Either way, thank you to everybody out there that has just popped in. Thank you for everybody over on D-Live. Let's keep it going. Thank you again, Derek. I appreciate your support. I don't like when you do that because I can't actually go back over to your channel and return the favor, but thank you. All right, and then before we talk about President B coughs heavily through signing ceremony following the CV, let's go over to our first caller, and we're about to bring in our first caller. Again, the number is 224-400-MARF. And while we're waiting, I do want to remind you guys, if you haven't already, make sure to go over to marfuglenews.com/prep. You can actually get the Alexa Pure Pro. And again, right now they have a very special sale that we did not know about until recently. And it's basically a flash sale. So when you buy a 3-month supply of food, you can actually go to marfuglenews.com/prep, go to the landing page, and you'll find a very special deal where you get 3 months of food. When you buy that, you will get a free Alexa Pure Pro. The Alexa Pure Pro is, of course, a huge gravity-fed water filtration system. Now, Nobody knows if you can get the PFAOS out yet, because I don't think there's enough studies behind it. But most people in general are filtering their water for a reason, because they do not trust what is in either your tap water or anything else. So that is really cool. Make sure to go over there and check it out. But on top of that, you are not only getting your food taken care of, at the same time, they're packaging it up with the free Alexa Pure Pro, which is basically taking care of your water. Now, the food is based on a 2,000 calories per day setup, and it has basically 3 meals every single day for 3 months for one person. If you want to do multiple people, they also do all sorts of different deals, so make sure to go check them out. And then also, it will be coming with an Alexa Pure Pro. That is essentially, again, people have heard of the Berkeley's. Alexa Pure Pro is actually a fraction of the cost, and it does all of the same stuff. It is an amazing system, reduces up to 99.9% of 206 contaminants, including targeting heavy metals, lead, fluoride, chlorine, viruses, bacteria, pesticides, and pharmaceuticals. Again, most people are watching what's in that, so make sure to go over there sooner than later if you want to get that free Alexa Pure. All right, and then the president essentially coughs through heavy through signing ceremony. We'll talk about that here in a second. We're going to get our first caller on. Again, that number to call is 224400-MARF. Again, that is 224400-MARF. All right, and it looks like we have Billy talking about power blackouts in Indiana and what's happening with UPS and robots. And Dex, it looks like you're trying to get Billy on, so we'll, if you want, I can come back to it.
Hey, Adam, Billy's live on air.
Okay, we got Billy. Billy, you're live on Marfoogle News. What's going on?
Hey, how you doing, Marf?
I'm doing good. How are you, Billy?
Yeah, I'm blessed. I can't complain. I just wanted to talk about the blackouts in Indiana. It was for a long time that we didn't get a whole lot of rain, and the heat and everything. And so we had a blackout at my home, and it was out for the first time. It was out for like 30 minutes, and then the second time it was out for like 10 minutes. Just good enough that I bought energy, and I got y'all a discount, and I bought an energy, and it was just weird. And I knew you was talking about the rolling blackouts and everything, and always with the heat and the structure and everything.
So, and that was in Indiana. Again, most people are not hearing about all of the other rolling blackouts that are happening, and that meaning it's a forced blackout where they take power from paying customers. It's not like it's an accident. Nothing breaks. They're purposely shutting off power to people. In some cases, as long as 9 days in California. I want to say 10 days was the longest. Can you imagine that? Just you pay for electricity every month, and they just turn it off on you?
Yeah, that's crazy. And I wanted to also tell you that we are renting a house, and the people that we rent from, they put in EMP shield in the house and put in a built-in generator, the owner. So what you were talking about, that should be a requirement. That's a good thing.
Now, did they know about EMP shield, or did you tell them about it? A lot of people ask if they're renting, if they can do it.
They knew about it.
Well, that's pretty cool. A lot of people that are in apartments, they ask if they can do it, and really it's up to your building. Yeah, not everybody can do an EMP shield on their house. That's why if for those living in an apartment, if you have a car, do it on your car so you can get out of there. I don't know a lot of people in my circle that are going to be bugging in, but that's also something to think about too, is if you're going to be bugging in or bugging out if something really bad goes down. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm surprised to see, and they, by the way, they predicted in Indiana, Columbus, and in other places, due to extreme heat, they basically told you earlier, they always kind of telegraph it out. They say, hey, the grid is going to be extremely overwhelmed, and they're going to do these blackouts. What I think that people need to learn is that it doesn't matter what area you're in, that your grid is on an old system, and something bad can happen, and you can lose power for days or even weeks or even months at a time if we have a natural disaster. So people need to prepare for that, including yourself.
Yep, and I also wanted to talk about. I just stopped working at UPS because I had to pick up a second job, and I just stopped working there. Well, we got a building down here, and it's all electric. That means like the only people we have doing anything is loading the trucks. That means we have pickers, people that bring our boat to our belt, the heavy stuff like 70 pounds or over. Now they got robots doing that. They got robots picking. So that means, and they got semis. They got one semi that's a robot that goes. You put the directions in, and it goes to that direction and it comes back. And you got a driver sitting on the side. So that right there is like 50 to almost 75 jobs that is taken because they go straight electric robot thing. So if it happened in UPS, it can happen anywhere.
So you're saying at the UPS where you live, essentially their main kind of center, where normally there would be tons of people on a conveyor belt picking packages, putting them where they belong, now is done by robots. Is that right?
Yes.
So this is what we've warned, and you guys are hearing it firsthand. Companies like UPS, which is a huge one, which a lot of middle-class Americans work for, either the UPS or the post service or anything else, and even some folks that have been able to actually live comfortably off of a job, whether it be a union job or something like this. These jobs are getting replaced. They're cutting the middle class out of everything. They are replacing people with robots, and people are not fighting it. These robots should almost be a moral conversation that people should be talking about. Like Billy is saying, his warehouse is now a few guys and mostly robots. This is what we've been warning about for 5 years, and now it's hitting, and now it's taking jobs. And how many people do you think? How many people do you think have been laid off because of it? Do you know anybody that's been laid off that's been replaced?
Yes, I know around about 25 already. That's all that's all the people I know. It could be more.
Well, either way, and it's going to be almost every kind of job you can think of, especially in the majority of transportation and warehouse work and things like this. They're all getting replaced. Well, Billy, thank you for your call. And the one thing I would say is you're doing the right thing, getting a second job and hedging or diversifying, because you don't know if they're going to replace your spot there. That would be pretty scary. Yeah.
And I just want to let the Marfoogle family know I love them, and you and Dex keep on doing the great work that y'all do.
Well, thank you, Billy, and I appreciate you calling, and it's nice to talk to you. And again, thank you, and thank you for sticking with us. And you have a wonderful day, okay?
All right, you too.
All right. That was Billy from North Carolina, and, well, actually, now in Indiana. Texas Trucker is on deck. So, Texas Trucker, just know that you are in there. And then it looks like... we have a first-time caller. So we'll get over to them in a minute. We're going to go back to the news. Thank you, everybody that just jumped in. It looks like close to 4,400. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. And let's see here. And I hope I got that. Shannon Wiggins, thank you so much. So the president apparently did this public signing ceremony for the CHIPS and Science Act were punctuated by extremely heavy repeated coughing. Like that. Only that was me. The speech marked President B's second public appearance since returning to normal work following the 2-week CV isolation. The president's physician, Kevin O'Connor, informed reporters that President B had developed a loose cough during his rebound infection, although the symptoms dissipated throughout the week. It says that the cough persisted throughout the president's remarks and eventually forced him to blow his nose and repeatedly take sips of water from a glass at the podium. It says, quote, "Excuse me," the president said during one such outburst, "I'm going to take another sip of water." So think about this. If our president is actually up on a podium coughing up and they say it's because of this thing, and there's evidence to say that this thing was made by somebody else, think about that. That it got all the way up to the top, if that's what it was, right? That whatever was possibly made got all the way up to the very top of the chain, or the supposed top of the chain. We know it's not, but you know what I mean. So think about that. It went through the entire cabinet. Of course, that also says something too. So you can watch the video. It's attached over on marfooglenews.com. Again, it's copyrighted, so you can go over and check it out for yourself. And then Pelosi blasts scared bully Xi, mixes up Xi and Taiwan in post-trip interviews. So she actually messed up the two countries there. It says House Speaker Nancy Pelosi ripped Xi president as a scared bully on Tuesday before mistakenly claiming in a separate interview that Beijing fosters one of the freest societies in the world. I think she meant Taipei, but again, she said Beijing. It says, I think that he's in a fragile crisis. The California Democrat said of Xi during an interview with MSNBC, her first since returning from a swing through Asia that included a closely watched trip to Taiwan. It says, quote, "He has problems with his economy. He's acting like a scared bully." It's so funny how the very oldest politicians in our government talk. It says, "We still support the one Xi policy, or one China policy. We go there to acknowledge the status quo is what our policy is. There was nothing disruptive about that. It was only about saying that China is one of the freest societies in the world," she added. "Don't take it from me. That's from Freedom House." It says Drew Hamill, Pelosi's deputy chief of staff, later clarified that the speaker made an unfortunate slip and meant to refer to Taiwan instead. What's on her brain, right? The speaker's record of speaking out against the Xi Communist Party for 35 years in Congress is unsurpassed, Hamill tweeted. Okay. Pelosi's office also directed the Post to Freedom House's 2021 report, Freedom in the World, which gave Taiwan a global freedom score of 94 out of a possible 100, which anybody that I've talked to that has been from Taiwan does say that. That is an unfortunate slip. Now, one thing that I do want to point out is we are all human and we all make mistakes and we all say the wrong thing. One thing that I am very amazed by, though, is not only this current one, but all of our administrations, how people in such a very powerful spot do not choose their words wisely. Now, they got there for a purpose because they're good with their words. They're good at fast talking. And again, I think that's what it is. You just fast talk and it just comes right off the top. But at the same time, if you are in a position like that, you cannot make mistakes. Same with President T-Man, same with Obama, same with Bush, same with any person. You are held up to a different standard. And if I was the president, I would be very careful about what I said. I wouldn't just free wing things and say things that could affect the entire planet. We are, or were, both the most powerful country and the most infiltrated at the same time, but we make a whole lot of waves throughout the whole planet. The entire planet is dependent on our currency. I mean, we are one of the most powerful countries in the world. We are one out of the top 3. We're number 1. So when somebody makes a mistake and says something, it can make a huge difference. It can piss people off. It can cause conflicts. It can cause full-out wars. So that's why I don't understand why there's so many mistakes as far as slip-ups and saying things. People will make excuses and say, well, they do a lot of interviews. They do a lot of talking. They do this. I get that. Just start slowing down. If you slow down, you can, because I make mistakes all the time. In fact, I point them out and I add an echo. I mean, that's what I do as a TV host. But then again, I can't say anything and cause 2 countries to launch missiles at each other. All right. And Dex is getting Texas Trucker on. We've got another article, and then we're going to be heading back over to the phone. Nagasaki mayor warns of crisis on atom bomb anniversary. I know there's arguments about this as well, but again, I'm bringing the info. It says on August 9th, 1945, Nagasaki was flattened in an inferno that took the lives of 74,000 people, 3 days after the world's first nuclear attack in Hiroshima. It says the twin strikes by the United States led to the end of WW2, and to this day, Japan remains one of the only countries to be hit by atomic weapons in wartime. But on Tuesday, Mayor Tomohisa Taiu sounded a note of alarm. It says, in January this year, the leaders of the United States, Vlad's country, and the United Kingdom, France, and Xi's country released a joint statement affirming that nuclear conflict cannot be won and must never be fought. However, the very next month, Vlad invaded Ukraine. Of course, threats of using nuclear weapons have been made, sending shivers throughout the globe. The use of nuclear weapons is not a groundless fear, but a tangible and present crisis, Tao said. It says, warning that they could be unleashed through mistaken judgments, malfunctions, or in T attacks. So that's another thing. People think, oh, well, maybe all of these countries will always call each other and they'll all just, come right back down from their escalations. But there are other groups and a whole lot of missing nuclear weapons. If you don't know, you probably don't want to actually DuckDuckGo or Google the number of missing nuclear weapons because it's pretty terrifying. There has been a ton that have gone missing, that are in unknown hands, and that are fully functional nuclear bombs. So it's something that not a lot of people like to think about. It's human nature to not think something is going to happen until it does. Survivors and foreign dignitaries, joined by hundreds of members of the public, offered a silent prayer at 11:02 a.m., the exact moment that the boom boom was dropped on the port city. Bells rang out and doves were released during the somber memorial at Nagasaki's Peace Park, with purified water offered in prayer ceremony for the victims who perished of burns and other injuries. I like how they added with purified water offered in prayer. Probably because the rainwater is toxic and, well, the water's probably not that great out of the tap there either, if you know what I mean. Because it's nuclear. Get it? Too soon? All right, let's head over to our caller. It looks like we have Texas Trucker on the phone. Texas Trucker is getting on. I just want to remind everybody, if you do want to protect yourself against an EMP, there is a way to do it. EMP Shield is the same company that's been contracted by agencies like DHS, DOD, Department of Defense, and, of course, the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid. So the entire United States in some way has called these guys up in one faction or another. So make sure to go over and check their stuff out. They are a a small veteran-owned company, and again, it's 100% American-made. Every screw down to the very T is made here. So make sure to go over and check this out. You can actually protect your car, your house, your boat, your RV, your motorcycles, your ham radios, your generators, whatever you want to keep running after an electromagnetic pulse or a CME, the Carrington level event that we will eventually have, then you can do that by wiring in an EMP shield. The easiest and most popular model is the car version, which if you want to protect your car and keep it running when nobody else is, you can do that in about 10 minutes. That device is very easy to put in. Complete and utter moron could put one in a car. It's essentially it's basically 3 wires, and that's it. So it's very, very easy. And then marfooglenews.com/EMP. You will get $50 off per device, and that stacks on top of any sale they have running. So that means ours is a grandfathered in discount. That's automatic when you go through our link. And then whatever else is there, again, that will stack. So make sure to go check it out. And they also are the only company that is making a energy solar generator EMP shield. Again, there is no other generator that you can get an EMP shield for. So again, marfooglenews.com/EMP. And of course, when you do that, you are not only getting an awesome thing and protecting yourself, you are also helping us reinforce the growth of our channel. All right, and then before we talk about test flying submarine drones capable of taking U.S. aircraft carriers in plans for a fleet of supersonic AI craft, let's talk to Texas Trucker, a first-time caller, talking about prophecy from the mid-90s. All right, let's see here. Texas Trucker.
Hello.
You are live on Marfoogle News.
Yes, yeah, I've been a long-time listener. I watch. Probably I catch your show the next morning while I'm driving. But
well, thank you. I seriously do appreciate all of the replay watchers, and I thank you. And a lot of people that work, during work they'll just listen. So thank you for being one of those. I appreciate that, Texas.
Yeah, I do it because sometimes I have to go to bed early, but I get up the next morning and listen to it. Yeah.
So
I remember the.
You wanted to talk about the map, right?
The what now? Oh yeah, the map. That is from those. There's from the show. I looked it up. Is Ancient Prophecies TV series that aired between '94 and '97. Those prophets they stuck to me, like the map, the nautical map. That's from the Hopi Native Americans. I remember that much.
Well,
They're the one that prophesied that.
So which map are you talking about? I'm gonna pull up a couple because one of them is from somebody in the I want to say in the 80s that also included the Atlantis, but that was also based. There's a rough model of an old Navy map that also exists.
Yeah.
And then
it's the one from America.
Let's see here. Let me pull up at least a basic reference. So people know what we're talking about, and a lot of people don't know about this. I personally think that the later map that has Atlantis, I almost think that they may have put that out to take away from some of the original ones and to make you think, oh, well, there's Atlantis, it's fake. But there's also real predictions of a lot of our world being covered by water, and some people believe that map is actually pretty accurate to what would happen. I think that one is from a vision of somebody who ended up seeing the world underwater, but I don't know. And then Dex, if you have an image of, I don't know if you ended up pulling up which map he was referencing, but let's see here.
We were just talking about
where the river in the middle opens up.
Yeah, so I know what I need to do here, though. Let's see. I'm pulling it up right now so people can. Okay, so here's one, right? This is, of course, the version I was talking about, but there are actually a bunch of different versions of this that show the United States underwater, and it's very freaky because it shows a very realistic kind of vision of, huge chunks of Canada, U.S. underwater, and then, of course, land masses that rise up out of nowhere because everything is shifted. So what are your theories?
That's close enough.
What are your theories on all of this? You think that this is going to happen?
Man, I don't know about in our lifetimes. I don't know, but one day in the future, sometime, I don't know when. But
and then, what prophecy were you speaking of?
This other one was about the next conflict. There was two that stuck with me.
Okay. Well,
one is
Tell us about it. Tell us about it. I'm going to turn my mic down and let you talk.
Okay. The one that stuck with me is next conflict is we will suffer the most damage, America, but we'll win. And the other one was, it's going to be so long-lasting, last so long, that actors will be fighting alongside regular people. They will do the one from the other conflict. Draft. I don't know if I can say that.
Just go ahead.
Yeah, that's about it. That's what I remember. That's out there. It's that other one was that stuck with me is there's something about when everything goes up or the world decides to turn on the people, everything is going to attack each other, attack the people, which I doubt that'll happen. Seems like you'll be at the office faxing paperwork. Next thing you know, the fax is get faxing your tie. But I doubt that ever. I saw that. I thought it was kind of hilarious, kind of funny, but yeah, right. I don't believe it too much.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Other people.
Where it's Yeah. I get you. Well, either way, here's the thing. There are so many things kind of coming together right now. It is terrifying to think about all the bad things, but that's why, from a prepper standpoint of view, we look at how if there's a problem, how can we solve it? How can we survive it? And then that becomes less of a worry. Whatever problem we're looking at, whether it be, say, a nuclear event, if you have iodine tablets around and if you have all the supplies to end up, at least trying to do things, then, of course, you feel a whole lot better and you check it off your list and then you don't worry about it. That's why I think that for those that are out there that are preppers, a lot of these things, regular people go, oh, that's fear this, fear that. But we're trying not to be afraid. We're trying to be prepared. It's cliche. Don't be scared. Be prepared. It's something that takes the fear out of almost everything. If we have a bad earthquake, by the way, that could shift the landmass like what this map shows. And there are other maps too, the blue and white one, the other one. All of them have something in common, which they show the United States partially underwater. The Cascadia subduction zone is a subduction zone. Subduction zones are literally, if you look at a mountain, that was possibly a subduction zone that smashed together and created a mountain. Mountains are created out of these kind of earthquakes. So instead of a coastline, we could be looking at a mountain at the edge of our country. And the middle of our country could be underwater. So this is something that people forget.
Yeah, I've been to Washington about a year and a half, 2 years ago. I delivered a load over that way once. Didn't do that. Go back there again though.
Now let me ask you a question. You say your name is Texas Trucker, so you're a trucker, correct? Yes. What have you noticed out of everything that's happened over since 2019 when this whole shabiz started? What have you noticed that really sticks out to you that makes you think that things are not going well And mind you, you've been around the country, you've been driving all over the place. What have you seen that kind of alarms you?
I haven't really seen much. I've been paying attention to the guards' place wherever I go by them. I see all the ones I see are still full of equipment and everything, and I pay attention to it. And speaking of equipment, a good contact of mine, he works for a company for chips, the chip shortage.
Yep.
His their main customer is, and I've
I'm sorry,
asked him to
it cut out.
notify me whenever they're.
You said the main customer is, and it cut out.
G.
Oh, gotcha.
The west of us.
Yes. The Dragon.
And yeah, the Dragon. Yeah, that's their main customer. And I asked him, I said, has the shipment slowed down for them? They said, no. They fly. They fly their own planes, and the drivers back up to the dock. They own the drivers unload their own stuff, the shipment, and then take off. So I asked them to, if that ever stops from them, let me know. Give me the heads up.
Well, fair enough. So basically, G isn't having any problem with chip shortage, or at least according to them. So
no, they're not. They're still steady working.
Well, Texas Trucker, thank you for calling in. And again, if you do see stuff, please let us know. And then you are driving around, so please, if you see anything strange, send us a video or submit it to marfooglenews.com/playmyvideo. We would love to play it if you do get something good on video. And keep looking up, too. A lot of stuff is going on in the sky all around us, but most of us are looking down at our phones.
Good. Yeah, there's one more thing.
Go ahead.
I read real be quick about it. Telling Dex that new military vehicle that they got ripped off. He said, "Yeah, ripped off." I sent y'all a photo of it before y'all aired it. New beefed up 4x4 military.
Okay, Dex, can you get me an image of that so I know which one we're talking about?
It's an email.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
I gotta find it. It was something he emailed a long time ago.
Okay. Unfortunately, yeah,
like
we cover a lot of
tires and flared out fenders.
I know which.
Like a Humvee on steroids.
Yes, I do. I am familiar with that one. So we'll show a picture of it again.
Yeah.
But what about it?
All right. Now, I've seen that before y'all aired it. I'll see it on the back of a trailer.
Oh, yeah.
It was like 3 or 4 months before, and I took pictures of it. I still got pictures of it, I think, somewhere.
And that's in the United States?
Yes, I'll send y'all, when I get off the phone here, I'll email Dex or you and send another picture of it.
Okay, well, we would love to show it. Again, Adam at marfooglenews.com or Dex at marfooglenews.com. And that applies to everybody.
Right.
Texas Trucker, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you so much. It's your first time call. Don't make it your last. All right, and then, of course, if you have pictures or a video, you can send pictures to Adam at marfooglenews.com or Dex at marfooglenews.com, or you can send videos to at marfooglenews.com/playmyvideo. That applies to, space videos or crazy public convoy videos. Again, something that we went over this last week is a lot of people were debating in the comments about talking about if their family members have deployed. One thing that it is the gray line here is where they're going, right? I think that it is perfectly okay for United States civilians to know if there are mass deployments, just to know if there are these deployments. A lot of people were saying, well, now that they know that these people are deploying, they're going to get ready or something. First of all, this isn't the 40s. A lot of people use a statement, the loose lips sink ships. Loose lips sink ships is actually from the wartime officer, the Office of War Information from the U.S. government, and it was an actual propaganda campaign, yet everybody quotes it. That was part of a propaganda campaign during WW2. People don't actually know the full story behind it. Again, I highly encourage people to look that up. But one thing is it's not the 40s anymore, and it's not the 50s anymore. We have satellites. There has been complete and utter infiltration of different groups, and that goes on our side too. We know what Xi is doing. We know what Vlad is doing. We know what every country is doing because we have real-life James Bonds. We also have satellite images of almost everything. Xi has satellite images. If we even take off one boat from our coast, you forget we are doing all this business with Xi's country. Not to mention, if you know all of the information that they have harvested from different apps and being able, that's why they questioned about the whole DJI drones thing. These drones were up in the air. You had millions of people flying their consumer drones, and the footage from that was going possibly directly back to the government. They could access any of them through the World Wide Web. This was wireless. You actually send a wireless signal with perfect 1080 footage to this handheld that goes through a proprietary app for their drones. You don't think that the actual country can access that? Well, we know it can, because if you are a bigger company like DJI, you have to be basically working in hand with the government. Almost every big company has. That was the problem with Huawei. So on top of all of that, on top of everything else, they have satellites. If we are deploying stuff, they know way before. You know who the last person is to find out about deployments? Is the civilians and people that are buried in their phones. So for us to say, for somebody to say, my brother deployed from, Seattle, Washington, and he flew to Berlitz, Germany, in the neighborhood of this, that's bad. But if somebody is just saying, hey, this is, my brother got called unexpectedly, that's not sinking any ships. Xi knows that before we do. I think that civilians have the right, if something's public and it's pulling people out from our civilian forces, then yeah, we're okay to know that, because these people are now missing. What is really crazy, when you put all that information together, you find out we are having mass deployments right now. There are deployments that will be public, and again, Xi knows this, because they know everything before we do. They have spies on the inside that are probably helping deploy these guys. That's the thing that people don't realize. It's not even the same landscape anymore. That's why you don't do things by surprise. You do things before they happen. The military has gone in. They'll put carriers over there even if they think something is going to happen, because they know that they can't make it there if they have to respond to something. It may be why the carriers are there right now. So, but yeah, there is a line there. You can't just be telling people, hey, he's going from here to exactly there and that and that. If somebody did do that, then we deleted it or we blocked out the locations when we read out those comments, because we wanted to make sure that all these TikTok videos were, that the comments weren't just bots. But again, we did confirm a lot. All right. And then we have Xi test flying these submarine drones capable of taking U.S. aircraft carriers in plans for fleet of supersonic AI craft. Dex, are you there? I would love for you to help me cover this, because this is something we have talked about. This is something that, in fact, I believe you even called. And now we're talking about an actual drone that could be... They're meaning it can go underwater and above water, or?
Yes, it's a underwater submarine, but it's a drone, and I guess it's a prototype of a flying. Where if you look at the picture, if you go down a little bit, you can see it starts off underwater, comes above water, and then hits an aircraft carrier. That's what they're building or testing. I don't know if they're testing. I think it's a prototype, so it's probably still early in its phase.
Think about that. It goes underwater. Nobody's going to see it. It pops out of the water, shoots a missile or a torpedo or something, and then flies up and flies away. And then it can basically, how they put it here is that it's underwater, it goes up, attacks, and then goes back underwater, and it returns to wherever it needs to go. This is crazy, scary. It says the drone can move underwater just like a submarine. It then bursts from the sea and deploys 2 large wings, and then it can go back underwater. That is just something else. I mean, this is actually not crazy to think about it. It's something that you go like, why haven't they had that before? But with the technology we have now, they can do things that are. I mean, this is like a transformer.
We don't have that.
Well,
I mean, I've
yet.
never heard of us talking about it. So this is like innovation from Xi's country. That's something we've never heard. I mean, I know we've got water-based drones. I'm assuming we might have something underwater, but I've yet to ever hear, even in R&D, that we've got something that goes underwater, in the air, and back underwater.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I'm sure we're going to now that we know about it. We probably already have it in the works, or probably already have it ready. If they knew, if this was popped out to the public, that means that pretty much every country has it, but they just made theirs more public. I don't know. Maybe they're telling us for a reason. Why are they telling us this, right? It could be propaganda. It could be whatever, but I do believe it exists because it doesn't seem like it with today's technology and what they can do. I don't think it sounds that crazy. With what drone technology can do. Remember, drone technology has completely and utterly evolved in just the last 10 years. Even stuff that, we've had drones for a very long time, or remote-controlled things. In WW2, they had remote-controlled things. But now it's gotten to the point where they can be, basically infinite flying time. They can fly around the whole planet and be remote-controlled or controlled by satellite. So this is something that will change the entire landscape of everything. It's where a carrier would have a weakness. And then U.S. to take part in military exercise near India's disputed border with Xi. So if you are watching, and I know a lot of our audience watches I don't know what channel it is. Dex, have you seen the Indian news that's like constantly changing their banners? It's like every 2 seconds, it's like, WW3 with G, we're all going to die. And then it like flashes like every 2 seconds they rotate through it. Have you seen that? I don't know if that's how they do.
No, I have not.
Oh, I wish I could show it. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? It's like they're trying to be a CNN, but it's on steroids, and it's like super fast. It changes like every second, and it just keeps flipping from picture to picture. And then it has the Indian newscasters. But if people, they call me fear porn, man, you should watch what they're saying. They're like, we're all going to die. This is going to happen. We're going to conflict. This is, the world's going to end, they warn, and they put that right on their title thing. And they have been covering, and it does sound, if you watch that channel, that India is getting really pissed off at Xi as well. But then there's all this weird back door dealings between India and Xi's country. So I'm very, very skeptical about what's going on with India and everything else. But now, who knows? Maybe they flipped again or flipped back to them hating them. They have extreme ties with Xi financially. They also have joined in drills where Xi was part of it as well. So they did military exercises with Vlad, which now Vlad is No Limit's partner with Xi. So they were the third wheel, and now apparently the U.S. is joining India in these military, they're doing them close to. It says the United States is to take part of joint military exercises with India less than 100 kilometers or 62 miles from the South Asian country's disputed border with Xi. It says the military drills will be held in mid-October at an altitude of 10,000 feet in Auli in the Indian state of Uttarakhand. Is that Uttarakhand? And will focus on high-altitude warfare training, according to a senior Indian Army official with knowledge of the matter. So think about this. we are going to India. Our military is going to the Himalayas or around there, and that border that they have kept arguing about, now there's going to be U.S. troops. This seems like they're preparing for WW3. Does it not? You tell me. Dex, do you have anything to say about this? I mean,
Well, I mean, yeah, the thing that was crazy is that we were just talking about this yesterday, and then this comes out saying that we're going to, have this take part in this exercise, and it's so close. I mean, 62 miles is not that far. I mean, sure, it may be a long walk, but it's pretty close. And when you think about it from Xi's perspective, I can't, if he was upset, about the speaker flying into another country, how's he going to feel about our military being within 62 miles of his border in an area that they've already had skirmishes, already had fighting, already were literally hand-to-hand combat, throwing people off cliffs, in that area. And I think there was like 20 Indian troops and 4 Xi soldiers perished in that event. So, and that wasn't too long ago.
And that's an hour drive. If you're driving 60 miles an hour, that's an hour's drive from Xi's country that we are doing these drills. But if you were flying a jet, that would probably be, a minute, if that, or less than a minute. They could take a jet from there to there. So this is really close. Remember, they always prepare and do drills for the most likely scenarios or probable scenarios or future scenarios. So it's like the stuff is right in front of us, but most people are going to miss this. Nobody is going to know. Nobody's going to be at your work in the office or in the warehouse saying, oh, yeah, they're 60 miles away. They're going to be talking about something else. They're going to be talking about a court case or TikTok or this or that. Many people will miss a tiny thing like this where, in the news it's tiny. In real life, though, we have the U.S. military on Xi's border doing a drill. What do you think about that? Let me know. Do you think it's just, it's nothing? What if DC war game maps huge toll of a future U.S.-Xi war over Taiwan? It's a what if. Again, this is a war game, and it maps a huge, huge divisive toll. Now, let me see here. Dex, I don't know if it actually... I thought there was a graph with this one. It says, as Xi waged extensive...
Adam, I'm going to give you the full article. One second. I'll throw it in screener. It messed up.
Okay, thank you. It says, as Xi waged extensive military exercises off Taiwan last week, a group of American defense experts in Washington has focused on their own simulation of an eventual, but for now entirely hypothetical, U.S.-Xi conflict over the island. It says the unofficial what-if game is being conducted on the 5th floor of an office building not far from the White House, and it posits a U.S. military response to a Xi invasion in 2026. Even though the participants bring an American perspective, they're finding that a U.S.-Taiwan victory, if there is one, could come at a huge cost. So this is where it cuts off, and we're going to get the
right.
full
I've
one
got
here.
You the link, but as you're pulling that up, it's in screener. What they've done, they've ran multiple scenarios, and they've talked about how much of the Navy would have to be involved, the U.S. Navy, other forces in that area. And they go through the casualty numbers. They go through how many ships we would lose, how many aircraft we would lose, and you'll see it quoted in the article when you pull it up. But it's significant. It's like even in these scenarios that they're running them right now. Obviously, they're playing a futuristic date, but in reality, this is because of what just happened. But they're going through these scenarios, and there are many in which we win, or I should say, which Taiwan remains independent, and there are some that don't. But no matter what, it comes at a huge cost. Hundreds of ships, hundreds of planes, and a countless number of soldiers would be lost.
Yeah, and it's not. It would not be a fun thing here. So let's see. And we're also going to make the entire article available over on marfooglenews.com. I did want to pull out, there was a thing that I wanted to highlight here, which was, let's see if I can find some of this. It says, however, the cost will be very high to the Taiwanese infrastructure and economy and the U.S. forces in the Pacific. In sessions we will run through September, retired U.S. U.S. generals and Navy officers and former Pentagon officials hunched like chess players over tabletops along analysts with CSIS think tank. They move forces depicted as blue and red boxes with small wooden squares over maps of the Western Pacific and Taiwan. The results will be released in the public in December. Is essentially what they say is in the 18 of 22 rounds of the game played to this point, Xi missiles sink a large part of the U.S. and Japanese surface fleet and destroy hundreds of aircraft on the ground, according to Kansian, a former White House defense budget analyst and retired U.S. Marine. It says, however, Allied air and naval counterattacks hammer the exposed Xi amphibious and surface fleet, eventually sinking about 150 ships. So what they're saying here is that it would be they say in most cases we would win, but only after losing a ton of everything. And all of these ships aren't just pieces of metal. They're pieces of metal with, hundreds or thousands of soldiers on them. So not a very good thing.
Yeah, there's one other paragraph. If you can, I think it's just past what you finished reading. It starts off with the reason for the high U.S. losses. That's really interesting.
The reason for the high U.S. losses is that the United States cannot conduct a systematic campaign to take down Xi defenses before moving in close. It says the United States must send forces to attack the Xi fleet, especially the amphibious ships, before establishing air or maritime superiority. To get a sense of a scale of the losses, in our last game iteration, the United States lost over 900 fighter attack aircraft in a 4-week conflict. That's about half of the Navy and Air Force inventory.
That's staggering.
Wow. We would lose half of our Air Force and Navy, at least the jets. We would use half of our aircraft just to get in because they have these amphibious ships. And I showed you, and this is what's so crazy. People were saying, oh, you said this 5 years ago. I showed you, before even Dex came along, I said, look at all the contracts that are going up on amphibious assault ships and amphibious personnel carriers. They were planning for this long ago. As far as island hopping exercises, this has been going on. Exercises in the dark without GPS, essentially responding to a situation where we do not have power, where we do not have GPS to use. And they even, of course, have been practicing with older aircraft and being able to take them out. This also kind of makes sense why they were not, and they are actually unretiring older World War II vehicles, and why they are taking aircraft that should be in a museum and they're keeping them alive. These older aircraft have all analog everything, and they say they actually could be more useful in this day and age where everything is high tech. Their analog controls and everything else are actually harder and more, more difficult to affect with all of the stuff that they have now created, all these high-tech weapons that knock out all of the high-tech gear. So,
and one thing to note, Adam, in these scenarios, they specifically said they were not using nukes. So they went down this whole scenario only on a conventional side. So in other words, if zero use of nukes, that's what the numbers would be.
And that's what I said yesterday. Yesterday, I literally said there's a very good chance that there will be no nukes for the longest time, and that it's a conventional conflict, and they go as far as they can, and that's a last resort. That's why I'm not so worried about nukes. If there is a nuke, it would be like a one to start it off or one to finish it off. That would be the most likely. As far as a conflict, that is very possible. Just because they go to conflict doesn't mean they're automatically going to do nukes. Nukes is mutually assured destruction, and as of now, we still have that. The problem with the hypersonics and everything we've been covering over the last couple of years is, if true, Vlad eventually, he first said that he had hypersonic nukes, which were faster than our regular ones. That means he could knock us out before we could knock him out. Again, even if they're up in the air. But the scary part is if they had a system that could knock out our slow missiles out and then hit us with the fast ones. So now that's why everybody has hypersonic now. That's why the U.S. is testing and getting it up and running, if they didn't already have it. I don't trust anything that comes out. I mean, they are obviously very ahead in technology that never gets publicized. Those are the secrets that, would sink ships. So we don't know what they truly have. I'm sure there's military in this group right now that have secrets that they cannot tell, and they would go to jail if they did. And I bet you that we have technology that far surpasses Xi, but never underestimate that country. These are some of the smartest people in the world as well. They invent, they have done evolutions of technology, and the Pentagon itself says that they are ahead in AI and in certain technologies. So that's a scary thought. So huge tolls being put out right now by these think tanks. All right, and then we're going to go to our next caller. It looks like we have Joe on deck. We're going to talk to Joe here in a second. I do want to remind you, if you haven't already, make sure to go over and check out marfooglenews.com/energy. An Energy Flex 1500 runs my entire studio. Again, a Flex 1500 solar generator is portable, and it is also run and charged by either your wall. You can charge it like a battery bank, or you can charge it with solar panels. This is an actual solution to, of course, a rolling blackout, or to losing your power, or to just having a power source other than your grid. Again, this is a great system because of how flexible it is. You can charge it with your car, you can charge it with your house, or you can charge it with solar panels. And you don't have to pay $10 of gas, per gallon to do it. This also has no noxious fumes. It can be run inside, and it is absolutely silent. I can't even run a desk fan without my mic picking it up. This thing does not make sound. I don't know. I've never heard it actually make sound. I don't know if you run it for 20 hours if it starts making sound, but I've never heard it make a single sound. Why that matters is because no one will know that you have one. When you run, if you've ever been in a frozen winter neighborhood where the power goes out, or even in the power outage situation period, you can hear the one person on the block with the generator. Right away, you can find out all the houses with generators because you hear them. This is silent, which is going stealth is going to be very important for many people. Especially if you were bugging in. marfooglenews.com/energy. The greatest part is there's up to $170 off on certain packages. I'd highly recommend getting at least the Flex 1500 with the supercharger, and of course if you want to go with their panels, you can. Their panels are what I have. They're foldable, they're portable. You can take them with you. One person can carry not only a Flex 1500, but I have carried all four of the panels. And the Flex 1500 with one battery. So that is cool that one person could literally take this wherever. Use it for work, use it for powering a drill, use it for camping, tailgating, whatever. When you do this, you are also helping our channel and you are protecting yourself. This can be expanded up to 96 batteries. You can actually make stacks of 5. There's no external cords sticking out. That is what they have over their competition. And on top of that, it is the only solar generator that can be protected by EMP Shield. So go to marfooglenews.com/energy, INERGY, and make sure to use the code Marfoogle. This is not cheap because it is a solution to a real problem. This is a professional system, so it is definitely incredibly high quality. It is one of the best and most coveted on the market. All right, and then Dex, let's get our next caller on the phone. It looks like we have Joe, Mr. Joe Newhouse. Joseph, you are live on Marfoogle News.
Hey, Adam. How's your day going, man?
Hey, how are you? I'm loading your video. Give me 1 second while I pull it up, and I saw the note about it. It says true or false, hashtag Marfoogle. Yeah. I saw that your comment.
So that one...
Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. I was going to say this first one, I sent you 2 videos. This first one's 50 seconds, and there's actually no copyright on it. And I figured if you wanted to be totally safe, you could start it at like 3 seconds, but you can play it on the show if you want, or okay. I can just tell you about it.
Okay, 1 second. I'll play it in the background. It won't. I have to switch over the sound, so let's see here.
Well, if you started at like 3 seconds, it's pretty much just clips of you. And I like took a bunch of clips from the other day when you were talking about Elon Musk and also about the energy thing. And I just kind of mixed a little bit because it just sounded funny. I mean, I've heard you say this stuff so many times, and then an Elon Musk article, and I just put it together. It was kind of funny. But I mean, if you want to play it, you could start at 3 seconds. You might have to turn the volume up for everybody. I don't know.
Okay, 1 second. I got to switch it off of. Hold on. He is involved in almost every facet of our future. He's involved with our brains. He's also involved with our power. Our power grids are getting backups from this man. In fact, I did it with one battery. I just got a second battery because I wanted more length. As far they are building, these huge Tesla batteries that back up whole grids.
He's, doesn't have a crystal ball, but he certainly has his hands on a lot more insight than most of us do.
People even accuse me of just being in love with the guy because I cover him so much. But at the same time, I think it's hard to argue that he's not going to be a part of all of our futures. So, true or false? What is the question?
Because you said if you love the man. I don't know. I said it's a fun video, and then that's Brandy. But
well, as far as Elon goes, people complain. They're like, "Oh, why do you?" And by the way, that was before everyone talked about Elon. That was before his Twitter thing. That was before. Over the last few years, I've talked about him a lot because I think he does know things. Do you think he knows things?
Me too. He obviously knows stuff. So I haven't made a video about it, but when he went to that award ceremony thing or whatever, where everybody was dressed up like in their finest suits and everything, he had that white, like full white thing with the jacket, and on the back, I didn't see it, but someone, I don't remember who, pointed it out in the video that it said that Latin for it's on the dollar bill. It says about the new stuff, but it was in Latin on the back of his jacket, and I was like, okay. Elon's not. He's like playing. He's like acting like he's just, like just a clever guy or something.
Well, yeah, like he's trying to be. He's trying to do code or something because he's trolling people to make them think that he knows something. Or I actually thought that you were gonna do something on like how you didn't know if it was us or not, because now you have that software that's basically it can imitate any person's voice.
Well, that was like a joke because it was just so funny what you said. Like, I don't know, you probably have to watch it again, and like you really have to listen. It's not super obvious, but I did have Dex send you a second video, and this one I added music to it. So just like mute it and like maybe you can click through it or something. But basically starts with Jacob Israel, and he's reading. It's from his recent video talking about Jeremiah, and so it's about Jeremiah gets this, or he sees this vision from God, and it's like he sees this almond, like a twig or something, and it's so funny. If you click to like the 34 seconds or 35, Brandy, she does these really funny videos on TikTok, and I got rid of my TikTok, but I got it again because she's doing this funny stuff, and it's really good. I like it. And but anyway, so there's this stick figure, and it just kind of, she's like, yep, that's it. And then I added the music from with Jacob Israel talking, and it just kind of, I didn't notice how well it matched up until after I watched it. But it's the music from, you've heard the Gangnam Style video from Psy where he does the horse dance,
Yes, I think everyone
like
did.
Gangnam Style
is probably the most
right. So
catchy song in the world.
It's right. So there's a second version where it's with this girl, Hyuna, and she does So I just matched it up perfect because Brandy does this thumbs up. And then so it just goes back to Jacob talking, and then so Jacob's talking through 2 minutes, and then at like 3. Oh yeah. So if you want to see Brandy's Star Wars cosplay, it's at like 3:07. But then I go into this clip from Dr. Michael Heiser, the Hebrew scholar. And I used a clip from this same video with him earlier because he's talking about this, the world tree in the scripture, and, you know, the tree of life and how it relates to, you know, Jesus Christ. And so, but he talks about how Christ is described as a tree or a branch, and like, you know, it matches up with Jacob talking about the almond tree, and yeah, if you click back to like 53 seconds, it says the rod of the almond tree was used by Moses to part the Red Sea. This is Jacob writing this. In nature, the almond flowers first, but takes a long time to produce ripe fruit. This is a picture of God's plan. And so I put that together, and with this clip from Michael Heiser, and yeah.
Well, also when you're describing your videos, a lot of people need to go over and actually watch them in the context, because if you skip around, you know, Joseph always uses stuff, and he does use copyrighted stuff, so it's entertaining. He puts real music in it and everything else. He does it for the fun of it and for the love of making videos. So if you guys haven't seen Joseph's videos, they are very interesting. He goes into symbolism. I always say symbology. Goes into symbolism and connecting kind of recent events and weird little things. He goes down rabbit holes that we may touch on, and then he'll dig deeper into it. He's very involved with the community. If you guys haven't gone over and checked out Joseph Newhouse, he is and he's just an incredibly nice guy. Most people should already be subscribed, but if you're not, make sure to go over and check his videos out. They're not all long, too. I mean, they're all pretty short videos. They don't take much time to get through, and he always makes a point with them.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem. Well, Joseph, I will check it out after the video, and I need to do better on catching up with all of the Foogle Fam creators. There's just so many of them now, and we have so many good creators in the family. Just thought the first one that came up to my mind was the official Marfoogle Grandmas, the Ann Lynn show. But there's many others. All of the mods have great channels. All, you know, Trinity, you've got J-Stone, you got Lisa, you got Whitetail 7, you got everybody, Bones, of course, you've got Rip Curl. So lots of great creators. Chance Paladin's an author. We got all sorts of great, talented people here. All right, so Joseph.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think? Now this is. I wasn't sure if it'd be okay, but Wages World, you had that clip from him in your video. Do you think he would mind if I used some clips from that was on your show with him? Just like make a fun video, or maybe I should skip that one. I don't know.
No, Wages is really cool. Wages is really cool. He's not. Yeah. Yeah, and if it was that's an exclusive video for our channel. I'll make sure after the show and I'll ask him, but pretty much just assume that would be fine. If it was on our show, you can use it for your videos at least. As far as like Wages stuff, I'm sure he would like the you putting his content and his name out there too. As long as you give him credit, he's very nice about it. And if you're not putting him down, then of course not. Right. All right, thanks, man. But I will check with him directly. Thanks for having me on the show. All right, well, thank you, Joseph. And I'll tweet out after the show. I will contact him directly, and then I'll tweet out the answer to you so you know for sure. Nice. That sounds good. All right, man. Thank you, Joseph. All right, bye-bye. Well, I should see, because I will make sure to ask, but Wages is a great person, and I think if somebody is using your content and spreading your channel out there, and they're doing it in a positive way, and they're not just using it to get views, or they're not doing it to put somebody down, I think that in general is okay, right? But at the same time, I'll ask them and make sure. Let's see here. All right, so back to the news. Vlad finds scapegoat in U.S. HIMARS builds case for the conflict with the West. So, Dex, I'm going to let you go over this. I'm going to actually pull up one of our next articles here. And then this is very similar to yesterday's, but it's a little bit different because now it's coming from a different place.
Well, yeah. So this is again, we've talked about these red lines or these finger pointing, so to speak, beyond UKR coming from Vlad, saying, "Hey, this is coming. What's happening here is coming from NATO or the U.S. And if that's the case, then that's who we're actually, in conflict with, as opposed to it just being a UKR focused event." So, what he is, basically doing is building the case, as it says. Like, he's basically laying down what he thinks is the proof that he is in conflict with the U.S., not just UKR. And anybody that can sort of look at this and say, well, okay, well, if we're sending billions and billions in money and weaponry over there, then obviously it's just a front. So, on one hand, it's kind of easy to sort of look at it and say that logically makes sense. But it does mean a lot when it comes to, the geopolitical spectrum and how that plays out, and, whether or not, they're going to literally declare that they're in conflict with the U.S. and would we react and would we declare back? Or will we just continue to let this be a proxy? I mean, we've seen numerous proxies in the past, even with Vlad, especially in the ME. We've had that for a long time, but we're getting to a much different point now with this event where, you can't really deny the fact that the things that UKR is able to do, they're able to do because the US is giving them this equipment, because NATO is giving this equipment.
Yep, and it's something that is quite obvious to anybody with half a brain that, that many forces are going into this. This is very much so kind of the NATO infrastructure versus Vlad. And then the prize is not only that land, but the principles around it and everything else. So it's more so, what is this a setup to? Where is he trying to go with this? And then before we talk about Vlad bans U.S. from checking its nuclear arsenals, violating the START treaty, which is also a big deal. I do want to say thank you to Marianne Spinelli, and I apologize for being so long. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I didn't see that. Thank you, Marianne Spinelli. Jane from Tennessee says, hype. Well, thank you so much for the super sticker as well. Johnny Harmon says, God is on the throne and sees it all. We just need to keep our eyes on him. Johnny, wonderful comment, and thank you for being here. God bless you. Shannon Wiggins, Jameson Adams, thank you again. I appreciate your support for our show. And then Counterfeit God 333 says, no matter where you go, there you are. Because you're going and you're there and you're... My head's going to be ringing for days. And, of course, Yvette, and I apologize if I'm saying that wrong, Yvette, Yvette, I think it's Yvette A. Marf is the best. Well, thank you very much. You are the best, even though I can't say your name. Global Witness, again, thank you. Scooby-Doo Do Right, appreciate that. In fact, thank you for not only today, but for supporting yesterday in the show. Christy, Battleborn Believer, thank you so much. Thank you, Kathleen Sims. A big shout out to Danish Girl. Thank you for being the largest supporter yesterday. Mystery School, Tuck Pup, wherever you are, if you're watching the replay, thank you. Joseph Newhouse, of course, for calling and for supporting. Be Real Beast and Peace Warrior Debbie. Thank you and thank you. I do want to remind everybody, thank you everybody that's stuck with us over on DLive, Kelly2334. We've got, of course, Release the Quacken. We have Maui Racing Realtor. Thank you for being here every show, Maui. I appreciate that. And then Foogle Fur Baby. Foogle Fur Baby, thank you for supporting. I appreciate that. Scooby-Doo and Lily Boo love watching Marfoogle News. That's really awesome that you guys are on both platforms. That's awesome. Kimbria and Stony McBlaze-a-lot. Always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you. Yobi, Earthwoman, and everybody else over there. Thank you guys for sticking with us and being here almost every show. And then Judge, who approved this very controversial raid on the Lago, once linked to Mr. EpiPen. It says the Florida federal magistrate judge who signed off on a search warrant authorizing the raid of former President DT resort left the local U.S. essentially in awe of something, and I'm just going to keep saying it until I get it right. Dang it. Let's see. Boom, boom. Boom. Just got to go back twice. Sorry, guys. That sound means I'm thinking. And refreshing. And pulling it up. I don't know why I'm whispering. I'm doing it out of nervousness because everyone's watching. I totally screwed up. Okay, I think I'm close. Yes, I am here. Okay. It says that left the local U.S. Attorney's Office more than a decade ago to represent employees of convicted pedophile Jeffrey EpiPen. So it says that there is a direct connection between the guy who signed the order and the EpiPen, the big bad wolf over on his crazy demonic island. Pretty crazy stuff. So this is the thing with this, and I found another channel thanks to you guys, Redacted. Did you guys has anybody ever seen that show, Redacted? It's on YouTube. It has a man and I believe wife, or a woman and a man who do the show. I just found it. And you know what's crazy is they're almost 1 million subscribers, and I have never heard of them. I have not seen, usually people send me videos. I don't know what way they lean, and that is an awesome way because they are actually very neutral. They covered the subject. You could tell that they did not, one of them, I believe, or both of them, didn't necessarily like T-Man, or maybe they just didn't want to say anything bad. But they've been covering a lot of things that were very neutral, as far as they are covering where is this money going that's getting sent off to other countries. They even shared the leaked documents that essentially, and they talked about the documentary that NBC put out that interviewed one of the main people in UKR, and they said that 30% of the money that's getting sent is actually reaching its target, right? Well, again, that documentary was actually taken off, and they postponed it because apparently that guy that they showed saying that says, oh, things have changed now. More than 30% of our huge donations are going towards the actual conflict. So I thought that was pretty interesting, but they did a really good job of staying neutral even when they were covering the raid. They were basically, it was just, they even said they didn't want to go one side where they're going to sound like they're doing a talking point from Fox, or the other side and say he's a total, deserves it, sounding like CNN. I think that most of us should try to keep things neutral and be able to cover things without our personal opinions unless it has something to do, if it really does make a difference to what's going on. I think everybody is welcome here. I know everybody is welcome here. I just hope you guys can all talk about things and disagree and actually get along. That's the problem. Nobody is getting along anymore. All right, and then let's see here. I did miss one. Dex, do you want to go over this other piece here about we have the banning, the checking of nuclear monitoring, or the arsenals?
Yeah, so Vlad is actually banning the U.S. from checking the arsenal, which is part of the START treaty. So obviously with everything going on, Vlad told the United States on Monday that it was halting the U.S. inspections of their nuclear arsenals, going back on the key provisions of the New START treaty. So it's not a surprise, although it is if we were in normal times, but we're in these times, and these times are very different because of the conflicts that are underway and those that may be starting soon, and all of the rhetoric coming from Vlad about whether or not they may or may not use tactical nuclear. So I guess that part of this is they don't necessarily want to let the U.S. in to do their inspection. It's sort of probably some sort of thing that we, with this treaty, had a unilateral review of who has what, just to sort of keep tabs on each other, sort of like when we did the flyovers. I can't remember what that was called, but and we ended that too, where they would have these every other year flyovers of each other's countries so that you could see the bases. But of course, everybody covered everything up right before. But there are these treaties that have been in place, and Vlad is, going against it now by saying no and denying access.
Well, and then does that mean if we check the arsenal and there's some that are missing, like that, isn't that kind of part of it? Is like if we check and say, hey, you still have that amount, now we can't, so they could give 2 or 3 to somebody else and we wouldn't know? I mean, that's...
Yeah, it was basically designed to allow each of our countries to limit the number of warheads that we created and that we keep, and it'll allow us to keep in check with each other that we weren't growing them or we weren't creating new ones. So, and it's sort of like with the creation of the hypersonics, it's not like they created new nukes for that. They just created hypersonic as a delivery vehicle, and they just take their existing stuff and put it on it if they need it, right? So it's not like they're creating new, or at least that's the point. But the reason for this treaty was to allow the two countries to sort of stay in balance and say, okay, hey, we both agree to non-proliferation. We'll agree to even, slowly getting rid of old equipment, and we'll maintain the equipment that we do have, and we'll, be somewhat transparent with one another as to what we have. And that has come to a halt. And they did say it was temporary. Vlad said, hey, we'll resume after, the existing problematic issues are resolved. And that's a quote. So it sort of is specifically about this conflict. Like, hey, we're in the middle of this conflict and we're not going to show our cards. You're not allowed to come in and look anymore. Things are different.
Well, things are definitely much more up in the air as far as where it does, I guess, rely on these inspections. So it's not a good thing, to say the least. All right, and then real quick, go to marfooglenews.com/offgrid if you do want a bag that can actually protect your devices from not only electronic as far as warfare like EMPs and CMEs, but you can also stop yourself from being tracked or traced. They also make little smaller bags that will just carry your laptop, just carry your cell phone, or just carry your key fob. The cell phone, definitely something that's recommended if you do feel like you're getting tracked and traced. You can stop it right in its tracks by putting your phone in one of these. It stops all in and out tracking, tracing, hacking of your device. If you just want to keep your stuff safe, then make sure to go over and check these out. marfooglenews.com/offgrid. All right, Dex, let's go over the web only real quick, and then we'll get right into all of the kind of other stuff that's going on here.
Yeah, so head over to marfooglenews.com. As Adam said, click on the thumbnail for the show and scroll down to that web only, or overflow is really what it is, because there's just so much going on right now. And if you're on YouTube, open the description, click show notes. That's your easiest way to get to it. Just click the show notes link. It'll take you right here. Everything that's going on with the recent events in South Florida with the former administration, there's a lot of coverage going on. We've got a lot of it captured there. Really, there's no major updates as to why, what happened. We do know a little bit about how much time was spent there, how many people were there. And then we have, of course, a lot of rhetoric flying around, finger pointing from all sides. But we don't necessarily know exactly what the probable cause was or what was on the warrant. So that stuff hasn't been released yet. It's sealed, and we're looking to see if there's more. There's plenty of updates here. So if you're looking for more information on that, you will find it. As if you can't find it anywhere else, because it seems to be everything that no matter what side of the aisle you're on is talking about. Plenty of other things happening, though. It's not just that. Of course, we've got things going on with the monkey business. They've talked about it possibly have been out for a long time, and we just didn't know it. There's an update on the Boring Company. So if you want to know what's happening there, you can find that out. And plenty more. Lots happening, including even in California. A secession measure is on a ballot there for a specific county. So go find out if you want to learn more about that. You want to learn more about the Meta chatbot and what it did with somebody who decided to flirt with it. You can find out that and everything else and much more over on marfooglenews.com. Click on the thumbnail for the show, scroll down to that overflow section, and then don't forget, after that, you'll find the links to the callers and any information they shared with us, including links that we pulled up that were relevant to them.
All right, well, thank you, Dex, and lots of folks that came in tonight. I just really appreciate it, each and every one of you showing up to every show. Thank you for the replay watchers. Thank you for Miranda McGuire, who popped in before the show even started to support. So thank you. We do notice that, and we do appreciate it, so thank you. And then, of course, everybody in the chat, many great people are over there popping in as we speak at the very end of the show. Chance Paladin, thank you. Alfred K. Phillips, Cheryl Akins, The Major, Alan Hodge, Biblical Smackdown. Of course, we have Stephen McMahon. Thank you so much for just being a great attendance to the show. Ian DeBrow, Danish Girl, thank you again for your support yesterday. See you there. Saul DePaul, Carly W., Bug Nana, Erica 5th of November, Cody, and of course Tesla 474 and everybody else. I love you guys. Survival Game, Ilea, I'm so sorry. I forgot to mention your channel earlier. It's hard to remember 10 things on the spot. So make sure to go check out Ilea over at Survival Game. She does a fun show on the weekends. Most of the time Saturdays, but sometimes Sundays, depending on the confusion. And then funny woman, by the way. And then make sure to go check out Alaska Prepper. Make sure to go check up Jacob Israel, Global Witness. Thank you for your support tonight. Thank you, everybody. Donut Factory. Thank you again, reached out. Make sure to go check him out. Have a good night, guys. It is time to go. JStone78, Karen from Columbus, Johnny Bukun. It's time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. Vega. Oh, thank you. That will make my shoutro easy. We'll just say Janet. We'll say Janet. Trinity, Bills, holding Murphy's lie. Go out the mills and Allen Hodge and mama of 6. Green with her love and Jesse and the ball and the gold and the polisher and love you. Danny, mommy, still love you, Mark, love bound enough for the glory of Christ. So connected, get along. I'm gonna go back in time, back when we were all fine. All of these phones, so connected, get along. I'm gonna go back in time, back when we were all fine. All of these phones, so connected, get along. Hey, Growing with Wally. How are you doing, Robert? Love to see you. Thank you so much. Your music has been really good lately. Thank you so much for playing it. George Washington. Yes, it's hard to rhyme, but it's so okay. Do it all the time.